Hey guys, received my rock sliders. Just going to go over installing it, some tips. The front fender, there's 3 fasteners. There's two of these, one here, and then underneath there's a 10 millimeter bolt needs to come out, and this just pries out. They include some foam for packaging with your rock sliders. This makes nice tool to just pry this out and keep it in place while you're working on the other stuff. The directions are kind of off. This inner fender well has to come not completely off, but take all the bolts out. There's a push pin up here, and then this is just the backing of these. But then there's one inner 10 millimeter bolt that has to come out. And finally, this front bottom guard, there's 2 push pins over there, and then there's a bolt that you have to get from the inside there that you have to remove. And as you can see, you don't have to remove it fully. I just kind of letting these rest against each other. So when you go to install the front of the rock slider, let me see if I can get some light here. Let me pull this back out. Great. This slides up behind. It's hard to do with one hand. There it goes. Okay. And these tidy cap buttons really help. So once you have that slid up, there's a black bracket here, and this is going to go behind the rock slider bracket, and then you're going to feed a bolt through and get it in place. This is actually the last part. They first want you to install the rear, so let me go to that. So I've waxed the inside, I've waxed this, I've waxed the inside here. You have a plug, plastic plug that you have to take out, and then there's this bolt that goes in the plastic. I've wrapped this plug with electrical tape so it doesn't mar the inside, just in case, you go to sell a vehicle and you said you're going to buy another RMAX, like the next generation, whatever, and these rock sliders work with it. You may want to reuse it for that purposes. Also, if there's dirt in here, take a rag and wipe it out where this sits, and then this just goes like that. And actually, before you slide it all the way on, they provide this spacer here. So you want to get that spacer in. It's really hard to do one-handed. And then slide it on, and then you can put your bolts in. Let's see if I can get some threaded here. You don't want to do them all tight right away. Okay. Okay, so we'll tighten those down later. But now, once that's in place, I can insert the bracket from the inside. And let me pause the video right now and get that done. Okay, so continuing on, you want to tighten these down first, and then come to the front. You can see I have my bolts installed, and then tighten those down. Just for reference, bolt, and then you have the tab for the rock slider, and then the black bracket goes on back of that. And I took my endoscope and took a picture of it so there's no confusion. Once you torque it to specs, I think this is 47 foot-pounds. Those you should know the smaller bolts, not to strip them out, and then just bolt this all back together. Another thing I want to show you is my donkey, Spunky. I told you I wrapped the end cap with electrical tape. I do the same with the bracket, and where this contacts the chassis. Reason being is, even though these are powder coated, so is a frame, when I have metal to metal or paint to paint contact, I like to just add a little extra protection so it doesn't damage the coating and it prevents rust. The other thing, anytime you install washers, there's typically the washer will have a sharp side, and then let me see if I can, there'll be a smooth side and then there'll be a sharp edge. You always want the sharp edge against the bolt. Reason being is, when you go to tighten this down, that sharp edge won't dig into the paint or powder coating. It'll last longer. It's just a small tip. So I'm doing the driver's side, and you can leave those two push pins as well as this one in. I was able to get the bracket behind there without having to do those three. Your other side's going to go much quicker now that you know what to do. All finished. It looked pretty sharp. Nice fit and finish. Mates up with the stock rock slider or stock skids pretty well. And you can see the one bolt over here. One thing with the manual says 47 Newton meters, which I don't believe is correct. I think it's a typo. Use your best judgment. Just remember, you're going to have two bolts left over, one for each side, and then your end caps. And just remember, these aren't step-ups. So I know you want your kids your kids are going to want to use those, but try and tell them not to. Thanks for Yamaha for the opportunity to let me demo these rock sliders. Thanks. I also installed the Yamaha OEM front bash plate. I'm not going to do an install video because it's pretty straightforward. Has a nice metal backing plate that bolts on, so give us some support. I like that sides are open, so when you're washing it out, the mud's gonna come out easier. Just a bottom shot. Uses the existing hardware, but it does come with these extra 4 bolts to bolt to the steel reinforcement plate behind it. And it's got plenty of room for your D-hooks. I'm sure you all know by now that when you're installing your D-hooks, you can get some spigot hose washers. And I wasn't able to fit 2, but I put a piece of plastic washer on the one side. So now this is not going to rattle or move. Pretty nice piece.